mics and then one headset mic. So who wants the red headset? Whenever you're ready, just flip it to on. And mic. No problem. Okay. And we got a clicker for you as well so that you can advance the slides.
Super.
Alrighty, I've got the recording started, the streaming is started, so whenever you guys are ready, you guys are good to get started.
All right. Will this work if I just leave it down like this?
You can if you want to.
Yeah, that'd be better.
Yeah, it's pretty sensitive, so it picks up just about everything.
Okay, great. That's good to know too.
Yeah.
He called Steve's office. And he picks up and I'm like, why are you in the office?
Hey, how you been?
Good, you're
See
looking
you.
official?
I try to pull that off now and
Yeah,
then. You know?
that's right.
Yeah. How things?
Things are good, yeah, they're
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah. When's your conference starts tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Till
Friday, yeah, looks like there's a 60% chance of rain on Friday, but maybe
Yeah.
we won't get the bad stuff till after.
yeah, you'll be all set all
Okay,
week.
good.
People have connections in Charlotte on Saturday or something, or
Yeah.
somewhere on the East Coast, and then
Yeah.
they'll do some.
Good to see you.
While they're here, they'll be fine.
Okay, yeah. Okay, good. So you got a good crowd.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Life treating you all well?
Typical start to a typical semester.
Yeah.
Students are starting to feel their way.
Oh, really?
They keep our lives interesting.
Good. It's good to see you both.
You as well.
Good
Take
seeing
care.
you,
Al.
yeah.
Chief's on his way.
Oh, good.
I guess Gary called him and he answered the phone over again. It was an apple. Oh, good. They added. She did a nice job with the slide.
Very nice. We can actually have a nice, comfortable seat.
I know. I was thinking that. little, fireside chat kind of thing. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Need to get more things like this.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
shame Mike couldn't join us today.
I'm not shocked. Are you shocked?
No. No, I was more shocked when I heard he was going to introduce us.
Yeah.
Are we doing this next Tuesday or next Thursday?
Tuesday, I think.
Is it
but
Tuesday
I don't
again?
know
But I
that
think
for
it's
sure.
I think it's a different time. Yeah.
Is it Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday 11th,
Okay.
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock instead of 10. Well, I have 9 o'clock, but I don't know.
Is that travel time?
Yeah, it might be travel time. Kelsey will know.
I have it at 10.
10 o'clock again?
10 again, yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Which I don't even know if I need a microphone, but I'll use it.
There he is.
There he is. Hello, Steve. How are you? No, no, no.
I had a
Good to see you.
stalking victim sitting in my office. I couldn't, can't say I kind of couldn't
Yeah, really, you can't.
I said no.
Absolutely. How you doing? Good. Yourself?
Good, good. Nice.
Good to see you
I
again.
think we've met before.
We have Mike Mulhare. Yeah,
Yes,
we met.
Mike.
Yeah.
Is this good?
We ready?
Don't know if we'll need him or not.
All set? Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Mike Mulhare, Director of Emergency Management at Virginia Tech. I'll let our other folks introduce themselves.
Good morning. I'm Kevin Faust. I'm the Chief of Police and Director of Security down at Virginia Tech.
And good morning. I'm Steve Luger. I am the Chief of Police for Korean Clinic Police Department.
Yeah, and again, thank you for joining us this morning. Talk a little bit about safety, security, and preparedness. The presentation I'm going to do has a Virginia Tech Blacksburg flavor to it, but the information is very transferable. So we think it'll be useful to you here at your facility as well. So we'll get started. So the first thing, Office of Emergency Management. A lot of folks don't necessarily know what an Office of Emergency Management does. The chiefs over there, it's pretty recognizable what they do. But when we look at emergency management, particularly in higher education, we look at three things. Institutional resiliency. How can we make sure that the institution has the things it needs to continue functioning should an emergency occur? The other piece is departmental readiness. Make sure that the departments and the different buildings, for instance, this facility or other facilities, have the plans in place to be able to react to an emergency when it occurs. And the third area, and probably the most important area, is individual preparedness, to make sure our community individuals are well prepared to know how to react and act should an emergency occur. And that's really what this presentation is all about, and that's what we're going to talk about for the next 30 or 40 minutes.
And the Virginia Tech Police Department, if you ever come down to campus and visit with us, we are a full-service police department. We are 24/7. We are sworn law enforcement here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, just like any other municipal department. Our officers go to the same academy as our brothers and sisters in Blacksburg, Christiansburg, and so forth. We have approximately 50 sworn officers. We are on campus 24/7. We have a detective unit, our investigative unit. We have 3 K-9 units. We also have full-time representation on the New River Valley Drug Task Force, as well as the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force here in Roanoke. So we are here to serve you when you come down to Blacksburg. we hope you stop by and say hello.
And kind of on a same kind of level as Kevin was stating, Korean Clinic has its own police department. We are recognized in the state of Virginia as a private police department. Our officers also attend the same police academy as Virginia Tech Police do. When you're on the campus here in Roanoke, you are our responsibility, and that's exactly how we look at it, is that you are our responsibility to make sure that we provide you with a safe environment to do what you do either through teaching or in classes and such. So we're here 24/7, 365 as well. We also have a dispatch center here in Roanoke that dispatches all our calls. And one of the things that we kind of pride ourselves on any kind of call that we receive here in the Valley with we have 39 police officers now. With any calls that we might have here, our response time average is 2 to 2.5 minutes to be on scene, because in this building here especially, we have a police officer that is positioned here, posted here 24/7, 365. If you need anything, pick the phone up and call us. Internal line, we'll talk about that a little bit more, but internal line is 77911. And then I would like for you everybody to put it in your phone at any time. It's 981-7911. And that's anywhere, if you're walking to your car, anywhere on any campus or anything that's owned by Carillion, please give us a call if you need us.
As Mike said, we're going to talk about some issues today that sometimes make us feel uncomfortable, that maybe not easy to think about or easy to talk about when it comes to personal safety and security. But as Mike said, it's very important for us to talk about these issues, because one thing I will guarantee you, if you come down to Blacksburg, neither myself nor anybody in my department, nor Mike, nor anyone in his department, we cannot guarantee your safety 100% of the time while you're on our campus. I would venture to say Steve would probably agree with that here at Carillion. We cannot guarantee your safety 100% of the time. So maybe the next best thing we can do is to provide you with some general information. And again, this is all very general stuff we're going to talk about. It doesn't apply to every single situation. But it's food for thought for you to keep in the back of your minds, so that if you ever are faced with these emergencies, some of these things we're going to talk about today may apply, and you may be able to use them. Because again, this is a personal responsibility, safety and security. I can't keep you safe 100% of the time. I wish I could, but I can't.
Chief.
In reference to E2 campus alerts, I know if Virginia Tech has its own system that they have to announce emergencies and such as that. When you're on this campus or in Roanoke, this is the method that you should register in to receive these emails. You can receive them through numerous ways. You can actually get them through your cell phone, through texts, any way you want to. You can get them in multiple, and that's what we usually encourage everybody to do is when they sign up, to go ahead and check every box on it. That way, if you get multiple, anything that would happen while on the campus here that would be put you or put your safety in question would be announced through this method.
So VT alerts, again, if you're going to spend any time on the Blacksburg campus or even here as well, we also encourage you to subscribe to VT alerts as well. One thing about VT alerts, you will not see it, you will not get it to announce a bake sale or any other type of campus activity. What we like to say when we send a VT alert is not only do we mean it, but we really mean it. We only use it for emergency notifications with one exception. And that one exception is they will use it at Blacksburg to indicate if there's been a delay in the opening of school or if there's been a cancellation because of snowstorms. And the reason we do that is because it's the most effective way to communicate with a large number of individuals. We also like to talk about alerts, whether it's VT alerts or E2 campus. They're mass communications. They're not individual communications. And I know with all of us with our mobile devices, we look to get individual communication. But again, one thing we want you to do is when you get an alert, tell those people around you that you've gotten one. Share that information. Because if you think about it, we've got 50,000 subscribers at Virginia Tech. If we're 99% effective, that still means 500 people didn't get that information. And that's really good. If we can deliver to 99% of the people all reliably, that's really good service. But again, that still means 500 people didn't get an alert. So again, we encourage you to sign up for VT alerts. Again, it's how we're going to communicate with you in an emergency, particularly on the other campuses with the exception of this one.
Now, again, these are very deep and serious topics we're going to talk about, but we like to keep it a little bit lighthearted as well. And you're all very intelligent folks in this room. You're a lot smarter than I. Who sees it up here? Who gets it? On this slide, what do you see? There you go. Yeah, Jenny Song, 8675309. I can't remember who was the artist. This was back
That's
in
the bonus question. Who's the artist? I can't recall.
I can't remember who it was, but Mike and I have been doing this presentation together for the last 4 years, and I only saw that 3 months ago. So there you go. Anyway, sorry to interrupt,
Yeah,
Mike.
that's truly the definition of subtle when you put it in that text element. So this is what VT Alerts looks like. This is the ways we communicate. The homepage will take over. We have electronic message boards on the main campus. We have sirens and loudspeakers, and really they're all about notifying you if you're outside. And even if you don't sign up for VT Alerts, we're still going to communicate with you through your email if you have a Virginia Tech email. One of the things we also suggest is signing up through VT Alerts through Twitter, and we have information on the page on how to do that. And it doesn't even require you to have a Twitter account. As long as you can get a text message, you can get VT Alerts through Twitter. And one of the reasons we suggest that is currently it's the fastest way to get a VT Alert. And it's also a great way for others who do not have a Virginia Tech PID to get VT Alerts. Anybody can sign up through that way, so we encourage you to do that as well. Again, on the main campus, we do have sirens. What we use the sirens in the public address for is if you're outside, we want you to get inside. We want you to get inside and seek additional information, because we're either going to look to shelter in place, secure in place, or some other activities happening that we want you to get inside. So that's what the sirens are used for. Live Safe. Live Safe is a mobile app. We worked with the founder of the company to develop this app, basically to customize it for Virginia Tech. One of the founders of the company, Christine Anderson, is one of our April 16 survivors. She was very involved in the project. Our office did a lot of work on developing the graphics, and we did such a good job. They offered that employee a job, and I no longer have that employee, unfortunately. But again, it's a really good app, and it's not only useful if you're on the Blacksburg campus, but it's got useful information no matter where you are. One of the most important things, and this is really our contribution to the app, it's got emergency quick reference information. And why is that important? Particularly for our students, we've got lots of information on our webpage, the Virginia Tech Police Department's webpage, but we also recognize individuals are not going to spend a whole lot of time on that website. We'd like them to do it, but we're not going to do it. I didn't do it when I was in college. I'm sure that hasn't changed a whole lot. So what we've done is we've made that information just in time. So if we tell you to secure in place through a VT alert or an E2 campus alert, and you don't know what that means, with a couple of swipes, that information essentially is in the palm of your hand. So again, we encourage everybody to download that.
And if you come to our campus and you have this on your phone, this is a great two-way communication device between our department and yourselves while you're on our campus. Now, I would caution you, don't use this in substitute of 911, because in an actual emergency, our dispatchers are trained to answer those calls first. That phone call ringing is what we have to get to first, and eventually we'll get to the Live Safe stuff. But do not use this in substitution of 911, but it is a good two-way communication. Probably the best example we saw was a couple semesters ago. A young lady was sitting in class in McBride Hall on our campus. A gentleman came in and sat down. She had never seen him there before. He was an older gentleman. He was a bit disheveled in her description. So rather than run out of the room and call 911 or take out her phone and make a call right there, she just pulled out her phone and pulled up Live Safe and sent us a tip. And we had an officer there in a couple of moments, and we were able to determine that he was legitimate. He belonged in the class. He just hadn't been coming to class until that day. But again, it's a really, really good use of Live Safe. It also will tell you if you're on our campus, there's a map on here that will show you the location of every exterior blue light phone that we have on campus. You push the button on a blue light phone, it's the exact same thing as making a 911 call. You'll be automatically connected to one of our emergency dispatchers. And then perhaps one of the things I like the best is what we call Safe Walk. Our students don't seem to care for this because their parents get into it, but at any rate, if you download this and your friends download it and you friend each other on on Live Safe. If you're on our campus and you feel unsafe walking from place to place anytime during the day or night, a couple swipes on the screen and your friend will get a notification. I'm walking from here to here and this is how long it should take. So if those two dots don't get together in an appropriate amount of time, maybe that's when you want to be making a phone call. Now the students think that's the way their parents keep up with them, but you've got to both have the app and you both have to somehow like each other in order to do the safe walk. So, be that as it may.
Well,
Kevin, the safe walk works on this campus as well. I mean,
Does it? Okay.
It pulls up a GPS.
yes, it does.
So it works as well on this campus
It will.
as the campus down at Virginia Tech.
Perfect. I didn't know that. See, okay.
Yeah.
I learned something today.
Yeah, it's based on a Google
Excellent.
Maps, so it will work anywhere.
Excellent.
One of the things that only works on the Blacksburg campus, essentially there's a list of all the buildings, and it's a great tool to navigate the campus, but it's also really good if an emergency happens, because what it'll do is it'll put a pin where you are, and it'll also put a pin of the building you pull up. So if we issued an alert and there was a problem in Squires, and you didn't know where Squires was, you could sit there, pull that up on the map, and you could see where you were in reference to where the problem was, and you could watch yourself moving further away from where that problem occurred. So again, we think it's a very useful app. Again, it has usefulness and utility beyond Blacksburg campus. So again, we encourage you to download it. If you do download it, make sure you get the Virginia Tech version.
And it's free, which is even better.
Free's good. Oh, that's interesting. That was supposed to happen as the things changed, but that's kind of what it looks like. So this is really what we want to talk to you about today, is really kind of these three principles. Secure in place, what does it mean? We don't use the term lockdown, particularly in Blacksburg, because the campus is too large, there's too many buildings, and there's 18 different major roads in and out of the campus, so we use the term secure in place. Shelter in place. What does shelter in place mean, and what's the difference between shelter in place and secure in place? And last thing we'll talk a little bit about is evacuation and why it's important when the fire alarm goes off to pay attention to that and actually move out of the facility.
So let's start with secure in place. And my understanding is you use the same terminology in E2 here with secure in place. Okay. So again, it's important to understand we're talking about very general guidelines here. Not every situation is going to call for the same thing, but these are just some general thoughts and things for you to keep in your mind in case you're faced with one of these emergencies. It might help you in the long run. So when we say secure in place, when we send out a VT alert, you send out an E2 alert, we're going to be as specific as we possibly can. We're going to tell you what it is and where it is and what we want you to do. And so if it's secure in place, if you're outside, all we ask is that you get inside the nearest unlocked building, wherever it might be, and get in an interior room inside that building, hopefully one that has locks on the doors, and wait there until you get further instruction. All right, it's as simple as that. If you're outside, get inside as quickly as you can and wait for further instructions. Get inside a room that you can either lock the door or barricade the door in some fashion and await further instructions. Now, if a secure in place came out right now and we were all in this room and secured, if I'm in charge, what I'm going to ask everybody to do is I would ask you to take out your mobile devices and put them on silent. Now, I don't want you to turn them off because this is how we're going to continue to communicate with you throughout the emergency. But I'm going to ask you to put them on silent because I don't want a bunch of ringtones going off if somebody's out there trying to get in this room to do harm. I want to make it look like this room is empty. So if we had windows in here, exterior windows, I would draw the blinds, I would turn off all the lights, all the phones go on silent. We want to make it look like this room is unoccupied. So if there's somebody out there that wants to do harm, they will pass us by. All right? It's as simple as that. Okay, so we get this question a lot too. All right, we're in here, we're secure. What if somebody wants to come into our secure location? Now, unfortunately, in this particular case, we don't have a window on the door, but if we did, if we have one of those rooms that has a little window on the door, if I'm in charge, here's what I'm going to do, all right? And let's use an example. Let's say we're on the Blacksburg campus right now, we do a secure in place, and it says female with a weapon, all right? Female with a weapon. Now, one of the things I want you to understand is when we send out that information, you should not assume that it's only a female and it's only one weapon. We're still working the situation. We're still trying to figure out what we have. But we want to give you as much information as quickly as we can so you can continue to make those decisions for yourselves. So if our secure in place said female with a weapon, secure in place, you shouldn't assume that it's only a female and there's only one weapon. So if it's female with a weapon right now, and there's a young man trying to get in our door. If I'm in charge, here's what I'm going to do. All right, if we have a window in that door, I'm going to walk over to the window and I'm going to look out to his left and look out to his right. Why am I doing that? Yeah, I want to see, is he under some type of duress? Is that why he's trying to get in our room? So if I look out to his left and I see somebody out there pointing a weapon at him, in our line of work we call that a clue, all right? I'm probably not going to open the door, all right? And it really, really pains me to say that, because human nature is we want to help no matter what. But here's the sad reality, the way I look at it. I'm probably not going to open that door because I would much rather one person out there possibly be in danger than me possibly putting everybody in this room in danger by opening that door and the person with a weapon getting in here. All right? And that's a really difficult concept, and it's hard to say. Now, having said that, I want to be perfectly clear. If you are in that situation and you open that door and you get that young man in, neither Mike, myself, Steve, anybody from our departments, we are never going to criticize you for the decision you make, because we're not in this room with you. We don't know the set of circumstances and facts that you are faced with when you're making those decisions. All we can do is ask that you make the best decision based on your own good judgment at that time. So if you open that door and get him in, I'm not going to criticize you for that. We do not Monday morning quarterback. All right, but if I look out to his left and his right, he's not under any type of duress, but he's carrying a book bag. If I'm in charge, I'm going to tell him, leave that book bag outside and I will let you in. Because again, if we say female with a weapon, you should not assume that it's only a female and there's only one weapon. So how do I know he doesn't have something in that book bag by which he wants to do us harm? All right? So leave the book bag outside. Well, I'm not leaving this book bag outside. I've got important things in it. Fine. If I'm in charge, I'm telling that young man, go somewhere else then. I am not opening this door. All right? This is not a democracy in this room. It's a dictatorship, and you don't have a vote outside the door. All right? So go somewhere else. Now, if you're that person outside the door with the book bag, computer case, whatever it might be, please leave it outside the door. All right? We'll get it later. We'll figure it all out. Leave it outside the door, because I will guarantee you this. There is absolutely nothing you will ever have in that book bag that's more important than you. All right? So leave it outside. Leave it outside. Now, if he's wearing an overcoat, if I'm in charge, I'm going to ask him to open up that overcoat and turn around in a circle for me. Because again, I'm looking for something secret in a waistband. All right? Is he hiding something by which he wants to do us harm? So if I see a bulge on his right side, I may say to him, hey, what is that? What do you have there? Well, I'm not showing you this. Fine, then go somewhere else. All right? Again, dictatorship, not a democracy. You do not have a vote outside the door. Now, to be clear, because we always want to be clear, I am not telling you to tell him to take his clothes off. I'm not saying that at all. All right? Just use good judgment. Just use good judgment. All right, let's talk about active shooter for a moment. All right? If we have an active shooter and you cannot secure in place in this building right now, if the active shooter was here, you may have some different options available. Again, this is general information. Not every single case is going to be the same. But these are some options for you. And obviously, one of your options is to run, is to get out of the building as quickly and as safely as you can. And please, if you're getting out, try to encourage others to come with you. But if they don't want to leave, do not stop and have a debate. All right? Do not let them slow down your forward progress. Get out as fast as you can. And I would ask you, don't be calling 911 on a cell phone until you're somewhere safe. I'd much rather know that you are outside the building, you are now safe and secure, and now you can call 911. So please try to not call 911 until you find yourself someplace safe and secure. All right? Now here's the real hard part. Here's the real hard part. Again, because we're human, we want to do the right thing. If while you're leaving the building you see injured people around you, just pass them by. Just pass them by. Because again, you don't want to let them slow down your forward progress. Every second it takes you longer to get out of that building, your chances of becoming a victim are starting to grow as well. And that's difficult. That's difficult because we all want to help. So again, if you decide to stop and help somebody that's hurt, neither Steve, myself, Mike, nobody from our offices, we are not going to criticize you for that decision. All I can ask is that you make the best decision at the time based on the circumstances in front of you. Understand there are folks coming to help these folks that may be injured. But again, if you decide to stop and help them, I am never going to criticize you for that decision. All right? So if you can't secure in place safely, you can't run, one of your options may be to hide. And by hiding, I mean you're in a common area, a break room without a door, whatever it might be, and that shooter is close by. So if you have to hide, try to find something in the room that's physically bigger than you, that is as solid as possible, so that if rounds start coming out of the weapon, they're hitting it and not hitting you. But try to pick something out by which you will not become trapped should the opportunity to run at some point present itself. So again, try to find something physically bigger than you, as solid as possible, but something that you're not going to get trapped behind should the opportunity present itself to be able to escape. So you can't secure in place safely, you can't run, you can't hide. You may have to make the toughest decision you've ever had to make in your life, and that is, I'm going to have to fight this person, all right? This person is right on me now, and it's either me or this person. If this is the decision you have to make, please, please make the decision and never second guess what you just decided to do. Do not hesitate. Do whatever you have to do. Act with extreme aggression. Hit, kick, slap, punch, gouge, improvise weapons, pick things up, throw them, scream, yell, whatever you have to do. But if you're going to fight this person, commit yourselves to the fight and do not stop until you've either incapacitated that person or now I have the opportunity to escape. All right? And I cannot stress this next point enough. This should not be a fair fight. All right? There are no rules to this fight. You fight as dirty as you can. I don't care what you have to do. But if you're going to do it, commit yourselves to it, act with extreme aggression, and do not fight fair. Do what you have to do. Do what you have to do. Okay? So, we get this question a lot. Well, what if it's first responders coming into our secure area? What can I expect? And what I'm going to talk about is our training in law enforcement. And this is pretty general. This is across the board, federal, state, local. I'm retired FBI, and I got this same training when I was in the Bureau as we are doing today at the Virginia Tech Police Department here at Carilion and every other law enforcement entity throughout the United States. What happens if it's the first responders coming through the door in a secure type situation? What can I expect? And I'm going to use an actual example from campus to illustrate this point. December 8th, 2011, we had an officer killed in line of duty, Derek Krause. You maybe recall that. But at any rate, about 9 o'clock in the morning, Derek is killed on campus. We send out the alert, people are securing in place, everything's going well, and we start to get additional 911 calls. Now, when something like that happens, hundreds of our colleagues from all around Southwest Virginia, they're coming to help us, and we love that. But they are not familiar with our campus, perhaps, and they certainly don't know everybody that works there. I work there every day, as does Mike, and I don't know everybody that's on our campus. But be that as it may, we got a 911 call that went like this. It was a young lady. She said, I am alone in this building. The name of the building doesn't matter. And I hear gunshots upstairs. And that's all she can tell us. So I gather 10 to 15 of my close friends and associates together, and I say, ladies and gentlemen, here's what I know. She's alone in this building. She hears gunshots upstairs. Go. And they went. And they came through a secured, locked door. The first person they encountered was a guy, a male. What was the intelligence they were given when they left? Female, alone, she hears gunshots, and here's a guy. Now, if you are that guy, here's what you might expect. Again, it doesn't happen in every single case, but I want you to understand from law enforcement perspective, here's how we are trained and here's how it might go for us. First and foremost, weapons are likely going to be pointed at you. Try not to panic. Try not to panic. I know it's difficult, but try not to panic. Because again, understand in our training, it's very, very specific. We do not put our fingers on the trigger unless we are going to use that weapon. Otherwise, our fingers remain on the side of the weapon on the trigger guard, and they do not slip down on the trigger unless we're going to use that weapon. So those weapons pointed at you, the fingers will not be on the triggers, but try not to panic. Try not to panic, all right? At this point, you may be asked to show the kind officers your hands. Let me see your hands. Please, show the kind officers your hands. Because again, understand from our training, we are trained that if you're going to hurt me, this is what you're going to use to do it. You're going to use your hands, right? You're not going to use your eyes. You're not going to use your voice. There's nothing you're going to say that's going to hurt me. But if you're going to hurt me, you're going to be using your hands to do it. That's why we want to see your hands. So please, just show the kind officers your hands, all right? This is not the time to start the conversation along the lines of, well, don't you know who I am? Because 9 times out of 10, likely, we don't know who you are, but more importantly, what? We don't care who you are. I don't care who you are at that point. I don't care if you're Dr. Sands. And I like this because it's Sands' hands. If I want to see Dr. Sands' hands, he better show me his hands, all right? So again, please just show the kind officers your hands, all right? Now, at this point, you may hear words along the lines of, please get on the floor, all right? Get on the floor. Please, if the kind officers ask you to get on the floor, just get on the floor. And it's perfectly fine to engage us in conversation along the lines of, if you're like me, I've got a bad knee, you know, look, I'm doing what you're telling me to do, right? I am getting on the floor. Do you hear that crack? It's going to take me a while, but I'm getting down here. You see, I am getting on the floor. It's all well. That's fine. We get it. We understand. Because again, understand from our training, we are only authorized by law to use whatever force is necessary to get you to comply with a lawful order. And if you're doing everything I'm asking you to do, directing you to do, then I cannot use any additional force. So if you're getting on the floor like I've asked you, but oh, you know what? I'm so hungover. It's going to take me a minute to get down. Whatever. That's cool. That's fine. Because one thing I will guarantee you, if the kind officers ask you to get on the floor, you will get on the floor. But I'd much rather it be under your own power than me having to help you to the floor. All right? Now, at this point, again, it doesn't happen every single time, but at this point, you may find yourselves handcuffed. Try not to take that personally either. We don't handcuff people for the fun of it. But again, understand from our training in law enforcement, this is what you're going to use to hurt me. I need to get these under control. So the best way to do that for both of us is to handcuff you. Then we'll figure it all out. Once we figure everything is cool, we will unhandcuff you. We're not going to take your picture. We're not going to post it and make fun of you in handcuffs. That's not what we do. But again, understand it's not only for our safety, but it's for your safety as well, okay? Because I need to control these. Because there's absolutely nothing in any law I've ever seen that says I have to get hurt first, all right? There's nothing that says I have to get hurt in the line of duty first. So if you have your hand in your pocket or something and I want to see your hands, how long do I have to wait until I see what you're pulling out of your pocket before I can take some action? The courts have historically ruled not long at all. So again, that's the way we're trained. That's why we do the things that we do, okay?
You good?
Do we have time?
I think this group would appreciate.
All right, do you all appreciate stories? I want to tell you a story. Steve appreciate this story, I'm sure. It happened to me once when I was an FBI agent. Young FBI agent, driving through a city where I was first assigned, wasn't anywhere here in Virginia, was outside of the Commonwealth. Driving through, and a call came out on the radio. Local bank had just been robbed, and I was right around the corner from that bank. So I get out of my car, and I go running into that bank, dressed in my nice FBI suit. The FBI, we don't wear uniforms. I have my weapon drawn. I have it down at my side. I'm talking to the tellers over here. What's going on? Is a bad person still here? What's happening? Because literally the call just came out. Next person through the door is a local police officer in uniform. What does he know? This bank's been robbed, and here's a dude standing in the middle of the lobby in a suit with a gun. Probably thought I was a lawyer. He probably figured, man, this is 2 for 1. This is just too good to be true. So, behind me, I hear the kind officer direct me actually, to drop my weapon and put my hands up in the air. So I had my back to him. I was standing here. I looked real quick over my shoulder to make sure it wasn't somebody trying to pull a fast one. I saw the uniform. I saw the badge. Ladies and gentlemen, I threw that gun down so fast, and I got my hands up so high, I was on my tiptoes. And my fingers were spread apart. I'm like, you see, right? You see. Because again, we're all trained the same way. I knew exactly what his training was. He invited me to get on the floor, and I got on the floor. so fast, I ripped a hole in the pants of my nice FBI suit. That's how fast I did something else in my pants too, but we're not going to talk about that. He handcuffed me, all right? And then he pulled me up to my feet, and I said, "Kind officer, if you reach inside my jacket pocket, you'll find my FBI credentials. Please feel free to take them out and look at them. Please feel free to call my office. Go look up the number yourself so you know I'm not giving you a fake number, and they'll verify who I am." He took my creds out. He looked at them, closed them back up, stuck them in my pocket, unhandcuffed me, started to apologize profusely, and I said, "Man, it's cool. It's cool because I'm alive and you're alive. That's all that counts." He still sends me Christmas cards to this day. He's a great guy. But the point is, it happens. Don't take it personally, okay? Remember, use your best judgment. Now, I will tell you this. If you're coming out of the building and we're coming in, first responders, our training is real simple. The first one's on the scene. We only have 3 goals in life, all right? Our 3 goals in life, if we're one of the first ones through that building, is get in, find that threat, and stop it, period. And that's it. Those are the 3 goals we have. So as I'm coming in, if you're yelling and screaming at me from the side because you're excited, now you're distracting me from getting inside this building. Something's going on over here. And it's even worse if you have something in your hand and you're pointing it at me while you're screaming. In my peripheral vision, what I see is I've got somebody screaming at me and they're pointing something at me. So now I have to stop and I have to turn and I've got to handle this. So now you have stopped me from my 3 goals in life. Getting in that building, finding that threat, and stopping it. And that's it, all right? So try to ignore me as I run in because I'm going to be trying to ignore you. And don't think poorly of us if you see us pass by folks that are injured as well. Because we understand we have colleagues coming behind us who are going to help these folks. But if we're one of the first ones in the door, that's our goal, those 3 things, okay? If you're down on our campus, Secure in Place comes out. If you're on one of the buses on campus, you're going for a ride, all right? Blacksburg Transit gets our VT alerts, Secure in Place. They will simply shut the doors to the bus and they will go to a predetermined location off campus, then they will let you out. All right, you can ask to be let out along the way, but they're going to ignore you more than likely. Don't take it personally. But again, they're going to button up that bus and leave right away, and they won't come back to campus until the all clear is given. And if you're at the next bus stop, don't be angry when they just pass you by, because they will not continue to make pickups. They'll close the bus up and they leave, and they won't come back until the all clear is given.
So we talked about Secure in Place. Now I'll talk a little about Shelter in Place. And Shelter in Place is pretty simple. We're going to want you to get inside. We want you to get into an interior space, but we don't want you to lock the doors. We want you to leave the doors open so other people can join you. Typically, this will happen in a weather emergency, tornado emergency. We've done 2 or 3 shelter-in-place emergencies at the Blacksburg campus since I've been there, and they were all tornado-related, tornado warning-related. We want you to get into an inside space, interior space, void of windows. Most people get injured in a wind event or a tornado because of flying debris. So we're going to want you to get in that space. We're going to want you to stay there until the all clear is issued. With respect to buses, if we issue a shelter in place because of a tornado warning, the buses are going to stop running and they're all going to get inside with you. And we'll just stop operations until that event is finished. So the other thing we want to talk a little bit about is evacuation fires. And if you've watched fire on TV, if you watch fire in the movies, you'll see that the hero always gets out, coughs a few times, and life is good and life goes on. Fire doesn't really react. Fire moves very quickly, very deadly. And that little demonstration up there, those pictures show the type of materials that are found in our residential areas and just how quickly they burn. I want to follow it up with a video here, an event that happened in 2003. And what I want you to do is watch the time elapsed, watch how fast things happen here. This is the Station nightclub fire in 2003 in West Warwick, Rhode Island. What happened is the main act came on about 10:30 at night, and they used a pyrotechnic inside the nightclub. It's a very small nightclub. There's about 450 people inside, minimal exits. And you see we're 15 seconds in, you can already see smoke building in the building. You can also see the backstage is already on fire. So it takes almost 30 seconds for the crowd to react. They realize that there is a problem, there is an issue. And one thing you're seeing here, and it's one thing we all tend to do, we always try to leave by the way we came in. So it's also very important to know multiple exits from a building. And that's what's happened here, is everybody's trying to leave back through the front door. Ironically, the reason we have this footage is there was a news station there that evening doing a piece on nightclub safety. So that's the only reason this footage exists. So it took about a minute for the first people to get to the door, the outside door. And you can see the smoke has already is beating them to the door. It's got there before them. And this is unedited, other than we shortened it a little bit, so that's why it bounces a little bit. So that's the stage door. That's where the fire initiated, about a minute 30 and it's fully engulfed. You see the smoke coming out of the front of the building now, 90 seconds. So we've jumped ahead to 4 minutes. You can hear the fire trucks are just arriving on scene. Fire station was about 2 miles away. Didn't take them very long to get here. There was some complications because it was a February night and so there was a little difficulty with ice getting to where they need to be. 4 minutes in, the building is the fire is totally evolved. The after action report, when we did the modeling, that smoke was about 800 degrees. It had already reached the floor. So we lost 150 people that night. We lost 100 people that night. Another 150 were injured. And quite frankly, if you didn't get out of the building within the first 90 seconds, you didn't get out that night. So again, fire is not like the movies. When the fire alarm goes off, pay attention to that. Again, there's nothing that you've got going on that's more important than you getting out of the building. So pay attention to fire alarms with maybe one exception.
Yeah, the only time I might not pay attention to a fire alarm is during a secure in place. Because if the bad person can't get in here to get us, what might be his or her next best choice or next best avenue is to get us to come to them. So if we're in here, we're secure in place, the fire alarm goes off, unless I have personal knowledge of a fire, I'm feeling the door, it feels hot. If there's a window in the door, I can see flame, I can smell smoke. I look under here, I can see flame, smell smoke. I'm probably gonna stay put. Because again, we will never clear a building during an active shooter situation when it's all done by pulling the fire alarm to get you to come out. We are gonna come in that building, we're gonna do room-to-room searches of that building and probably all the buildings around it as well, looking for you to find you, looking for other potential victims, and looking for other potential bad people. All right, so we will never pull a fire alarm to get you to come out when the all clear is given. And we actually saw this happen a couple summers ago at the University of Central Florida. A gunman went into a residence hall at night, wanted to shoot people, and rather than go from room to room, he pulled the fire alarm and then he went out and waited for them in the parking lot. Now, fortunately, that situation ended before anybody got hurt except for him, but it does happen. So unless I have personal knowledge as a fire, I'm probably staying put.
Yeah. It also happened at the shooting that occurred at the Naval Yard 2 years ago. And in that case, it's unclear if the shooter actually pulled the fire alarms or individuals in the building pulled the fire alarms because they had no alert system. They were actually trying to communicate with each other to let them know that there was a problem. They now have since added an alert system similar to what's here and what's also at the Virginia Tech campus, so that problem doesn't occur again. That was one of the things that came out of their after-action report.
So if you're on campus or anywhere for that matter, you need to call the police. You can see the number here for the local campus here in Roanoke. Down in Virginia, at Virginia Tech, is simply 911. But again, get safe and secure first, then report the emergency. Give as much information as you can. And if you accidentally dial this one, Steve, I don't know how many accidental dials you get a year, but we usually get 1 or 2 a day. You accidentally dial 911, please stay on the line and tell us it was an accident. Because what happens in our dispatch center is on a computer screen, it pops up on the map that your phone number just made a 911 call from this location. And if they don't hear you on the phone, they're gonna try to call you back. And if they can't get you, it goes to voicemail or it rings busy. We have to assume you're under emergency. And we are coming at a high rate of speed, lights and sirens, down at Virginia Tech across the campus where we have 5,000 some students at any time during class change. I'm sure, Steve, you don't have this issue here, but a lot of our students are doing what I call the zombie walk through our crosswalks, staring at their phones. And we'd rather not have to come across our campus at a high rate of speed if there's not an emergency. So please tell us it was an accident.
Building preparedness, we have
I'm
building.
sorry, Steve.
I
I'm
was
sorry,
just going
Steve.
to add
No,
one
please.
thing to that too. If you happen to dial 911 in error, don't think you're in any trouble. I mean, that's the reason usually people hang it up and go, oh, and it rings back. Oh no, I'm not answering that. I don't want to get. You're not in any trouble. Just tell us what happened, because the 911. We explained to our people here and at Jefferson College that when if by chance you can't, if somebody's in front of you and you've got your phone set to where 911, hit the button and let it go. Even if you can't say anything, even if you can't talk into it, use it as a duress call, because 911 is going to do just like Kevin explained. If we call that number or we hear talking but we don't know what's going on with it, we're coming, as Kevin explained, we're dropping what we do. That's considered an active in progress call, and we're going to respond in that manner. So if you need us and there's no way to tell us other than to hit 911, and that's something too also in here in Roanoke, if you hit 911, it's going to go to Roanoke City Police Department's dispatch center. Not a problem. Don't think you've done wrong, because we have a hotline immediately. When they see that call coming from our campus, they push one button, it comes to our dispatch. They send Roanoke City officers and our officers. So don't think that you've done wrong. If you don't remember what our number is, hit 911. We still will get the call. Okay.
So initially, I talked a little bit about departmental readiness. Big part of that is our building emergency coordinator program. Gary's your building emergency coordinator. You ever have any questions about preparedness and planning within this facility? He's the guy to talk to, and he'll be able to help you out with that.
Down on campus, do you have blue light phones here? Okay, so you have them here as well. Again, these are just another means by which you can contact us through 911. You hit those buttons and you'll hear a voice, 911, what's your emergency? That's a live dispatcher. So again, if you accidentally hit one of these, please, please, please stay there and tell them it was an accident. And like Steve said, and I can't say it any better, you're not going to get in any kind of trouble. We're not going to print your name in the paper or anything, charge you with anything. I did it one time from my office on the second floor of the police department. I dialed 911, and our dispatcher said, 911, what's your emergency? And I was like, oh. I said, well, my coffee's cold. And she didn't think that was very funny, nor should she. But at any rate, if you accidentally push that button, please tell us there's an accident. If you need them, they are around. Look for them. That's a good way to get in touch with law enforcement and emergency responders. At Virginia Tech, we have this thing called the Threat Assessment Team. It's a resource that folks don't know a whole lot about, but we were very fortunate. After April 16th, Wendell Flensham, who was the chief at the time, had recruited one of the nation's leading experts in threat assessment, threat management. His name was Dr. Gene Dysinger. I shouldn't talk about him in past tense. He's still with us. He's still Dr. Gene Dysinger. He came to Virginia Tech as our deputy chief of police, set up the process at Virginia Tech. He has since retired, but he is on contract with the state. So if you want him to come down and talk about threat assessment, threat management, that can be arranged. Gene literally wrote the book on this stuff. He knows it like the back of his hand. Excellent. These are the types of behaviors, if you're seeing this from folks, I don't care if it's here on campus or whatever, because we are constantly sharing information back and forth, and we're going to continue to do that. But again, the most important thing here, this may be nothing but. All right, Steve and I really want to emphasize, you should never, ever hesitate to call us if you are having issues with somebody or a colleague or a student or whatever the case might be. We don't want you to think, oh, they're just going to think I'm wasting their time, or they're going to say this is silly. No, we want you to call us. We want you to call us, because you just never know. You just never know. And that goes for things off campus as well, in your personal life. Let us know, because you never know when something off campus is going to be coming on campus, and then we have to deal with it. So please let us know. This is all confidential information. It's not publicly shared, but the threat assessment team at Virginia Tech does an excellent job. It has a lot of resources available to it.
So emergency kits, again, if we do a shelter in place or secure in place, one of the things is we're not going to feed you. We're not bringing you lunch. And a shelter in place, a secure in place can last for many hours. And I don't know about here, but at Virginia Tech, if you call Jimmy John's, we're not letting them come either. So, so again, we talk about having some supplies, having some resources with you in your office, because it's for your own comfort. It'll make time go by a little better, a little faster. We'll also try to communicate with you about every 30 minutes so you know what's going on. But again, think about having, if there's any medication you need. We talk to our students all the time about having a water bottle and a snack in their book bag and whatever medication they need. We've got a lot of information on our website on how to put a kit together, whether it's for your office, for your car, for your home. So take a look at that if you'd like some more information on that.
Now some shameless plugs from our sponsors. Virginia Tech Police Department, we can do many things for you if you're down on our campus. Please take our RAD class if you've never done that, the Rape Regression Defense. We do a staff faculty police academy in the summer months, so if you have any interest in that. And we also have our internship program. If you have students that are interested in law enforcement or career in law enforcement, please have them give us a call and we'll be happy to set that up.
On our side, we do a campus community emergency response team training, and that's to provide those who take it a little more information about how to be prepared, but also how to help their community, whether that community is Virginia Tech or the community at home. We're just wrapping that up right now. We'll do a big exercise at Lane Stadium, and people get to practice those skills. One of the other things we do is we offer a series of trainings on how to manage an emergency, what you need to do, particularly if you're in a leadership position. So again, you can contact us at any time and we'll let you know what we've got going on. And if there's something specifically that's of interest, either my office or Kevin's office or in conjunction, we will bring that training to you as well. So please reach out to us for that.
As part of, as I stated earlier, we do have a dispatch center that's 24/7, 365, and then as part of the systems here you can see around there, there's actually monitors and cameras that go completely around the room. We have over 570 cameras within this building and the other Korean buildings and just what's called the CMC right here, this area here. So we have cameras out there that probably you don't know about. So be careful what you do, you know, when you're, just keep that in mind. There is a camera out there. So Big Brother is watching on this campus. I'm one of those two that people say, oh, Big Brother, there you go again. But when you're on the Korean campus and such, those cameras are just invaluable as to helping us instead of be reactionary. We never want to be reactionary. We want to be progressive. In other words, we want to stop something before it happens to you, then wait till it happens to you. So that's how we go about doing that. As you can see, we take great pride in the makeup of our department. We have quite a few. We were able to do, as Kevin did. Kevin with a distinguished career with the FBI, then takes over and shares that with them. We've been able to do the same thing. You know, one of our recent captains is a 28-year veteran U.S. Marshal Service. I was with the City of Roanoke Police Department for 33 years and was deputy chief in charge of operations when I retired and came to Carilion. So we have a really good pool of talent in our organization. And as I stated, you know, you can tell the difference. We also have security officers on Korean campuses. You'll see those in the light blue shirts. Those are supplement our security. They're a set of eyes. They all have radio contact with our dispatch center. It's like having people move through. They're wayfinders. They can report things that look out of place. And on top of that, again, as I stated earlier, we have 39 police officers. They're dressed in the same manner as Kevin is. You'll see the navy blue pants. Those are police officers. They are armed, and they're there for your safety.
So this is how you can get contact with us. Please check us out on social media. We have a social media presence, both offices do, and we do other things other than just safety and security, do some fun things on that. What's your status now, Kevin?
I'm happy to say the Virginia Tech Police Department is the second most liked university police department in the country on Facebook. We are very, very close to taking over again this time last year, but University of Texas cheated somehow and they overtook us. So if you know how to take down somebody's Facebook page, it's the University of Texas Police Department at Austin. But at any rate, like Mike said, we use it for much more than just safety and security type posts. We put all kinds of things on there, community things and whatnot. So, you know, please like us and like OEM.
Yeah.
So
our
bit behind us.
Our following's a little smaller, so if you have to make a choice, it's us first.
And if you really want to make a choice, we also have a Facebook page. We do put all of our information on there, as well as photographs and stuff and that we participate. So you're welcome to take a look at it too.
So I think that's pretty much the end of our presentation. We'd welcome any questions at this time that you might have, or any additional information on any topic we covered that you'd like more, or topic that we didn't cover. We're at your disposal. Thank you.